Marker sketches for love and glory, baby. All right, in the previous video, I showed the false color sketching technique in Clip Studio Paint digitally. And there I mentioned that this was actually something that I had done with markers many years ago. And then that gave me the idea that maybe I should show what it's like with markers. So I went into my drawers and I pulled out all of my old Tombow color markers. And you will see throughout this video that I struggle with that because these markers, a lot of them are going on 10 years old now. So I keep encountering very dry ones. And when I encounter a dry one, I threw it over my shoulder onto the floor of my studio so that I would throw it out at the end of the session. It was very, very fun to revisit this technique. I'm always surprised by how freeing it is to just have the drawing look completely unlike the reference right off the bat. You'll notice on this first sketch that I added on his bent right leg, I added that foot visible in the back. Oh, wait a second, I should talk about how I'm looking at the reference. That's the Proko timer in the top left. If you go to proko.com/timer, and I'll put a link in the description, you can use this tool that any photo packs that you've bought on Proko, you can load them into the timer and then it'll cycle through them. I set it to 20 minutes because I like to spend a good long time on any given drawing. And back to what I was saying on that sketch on the left, you can see that I added the foot behind the bent right leg because in the photo, the foot was completely occluded by the upper thigh, and that just looks awkward in a drawing. In a photo, you accept it because you know that a photo is correct, but in a drawing, it looks a little bit weird, so you should be comfortable inventing something like a foot behind that leg to make it feel more natural. That takes practice. You need to understand a little bit of perspective, but it's a useful skill to get. Wow, this is going by lightning speed. Check out this head, incredible. This is from the Historical Portraits photo pack. Just picking totally different colors, right? I let myself have a green face with yellow light, and then I'm throwing in a lot of oranges instead of the dull browns. The whole point of the false color technique is to allow you to just play and use whatever colors you want. You can also use colors that are in the reference, but the whole point is to just give you freedom. You can see that I cycled through a lot of references in the top left there very quick, and that's because I feel I'm under no obligation to do each image that the timer randomly gives me. I cycle through one that makes me excited, and then I sit there and I'll do it for 20 minutes unless I find sort of a sublime thing. Wow, this drawing, I really thought I tanked this one. This is a classic example of you think this is going to be the turkey of the group because it goes through a very ugly period, and then by the end of it, I was like, oh no, that's the best one in the batch, and god damn it, I'm good. But really, you just need to take big swings and see if you can catch yourself on the other side. Try to think of sketching sessions like this as not necessarily about giving you insights into techniques that you can apply to your final work or sort of making you a better artist. I mean, it will definitely do that, but I don't think that's what you should focus on. For me, when I do these sessions, I feel like the main thing that I'm practicing is not being scared. That's the main thing that I'm practicing. That is a thing that can be developed just like anything else in art. And I think that that's probably more useful than any incidental little insight into, all right, the deltoid is usually made by this line, or I can use these values this way. It's like, just practice not being scared. Not being scared is going to apply everywhere. This drawing, nailed it. I gotta tell you, baby, it is easy being this good. This one I only spent 5 minutes on, even though I had like a 20-minute timer on it, because at a certain point, you just have to look at it and say, you know what? Got this one. No need to touch it anymore. You're just gonna make it worse the more that you touch it. You know, those initial flourishes really were master level, goddamn. I am the best in the world. There's no denying it. All right, on to the next sheet, cycling through. I forget what I do next. I must have been cycling through for long there because this is sped up super fast. And here we go. It's a face, baby. Kind of like a scary, like a brouhaha witch kind of a face, something like that. This one had some big mistakes proportionally, and that's fine. Again, seen through the lens of you're not really there to practice being great at art. You're instead there to practice not being afraid of sketching. Then mistakes just become another opportunity, right? And instead of worrying about, oh, you know, I put the eye too close to where the headband is going to be, instead just reframe it in your head as I am practicing recovering from mistakes and adapting to them. You're never going to be at a level where everything goes perfectly and you don't make quote unquote errors in a drawing. Now, I have a bit of a philosophical bone to pick with the idea that there's errors in drawings, but surely a skill that is very useful is just being able to adapt to them. And here at the end of the session, I just do a couple imagination sketches instead of looking at the reference, because I do think that it is important to whatever you're trying out, always reapply it back to the thing that you're actually trying to focus on, even if it's quick at the end of a session. Like, I'm not really the kind of artist who my main goal is to work from reference in the end. I want to work from imagination most of the time. So at the end of the session here, I just do a couple quick imagination sketches using this technique to sort of ingrain it in my head, and that's it. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Happy drawing.